Adopted dog refuses to go with new owner. When employees realize why, they call 911. Laney, a recently adopted shelter dog, seemed ecstatic to leave the kennel until she suddenly refused to step out of the shelter's door with her new owner. The staff were baffled as Laney had always been eager for affection in a new home. But today, something was holding her back, an unseen force that none could understand. Once one of the employees discovered the unexpected cause of Laney's reluctance, she knew there was no time to lose and immediately contacted 911. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any new stories. As soon as Monica realized what was going on, she rushed into the office and locked the door behind her. With trembling hands, she dialed 911 and quickly explained the situation to the dispatcher who had taken her call. "This is very urgent. Please send someone over here as quickly as possible," she asked. Minutes later, she was back with her colleague Laney and the man who was planning to bring the sweet dog home. Monica tried to act normally and pretend that everything was fine, and she hoped that none of the others noticed that something was wrong. Especially the man. He shouldn't know that she was onto him. Not until the police arrived, anyway. "Do you have any idea why she's behaving this way? It doesn't make any sense to me," Monica's colleague Sarah asked. Sarah tried everything to get Laney to walk through the door, but the dog wouldn't budge. It was pulling and biting the leash, and it was very clear to everyone around her that she simply did not want to leave. Only Sarah didn't recognize this behavior, but luckily Monica did. Monica knew that she needed to do something. Just as the man was about to try pulling the leash again, she quickly intervened and said, "Why don't we put her back in her cage for a moment? She'll definitely feel more comfortable there." Both Sarah and the man thought this was a bit strange, but Monica managed to convince them for Laney's sake. She had hoped that the police would have arrived by now, and she kept glancing outside, but there was still nobody there. It was all taking way too long, and Laney's new owner slowly seemed to be getting impatient. But Monica was determined to stall him for as long as she needed to. She wasn't going to let him get away, and especially not with Laney. It was clear to Monica that her colleague still had absolutely no idea of what was going on, and after giving it some thought, she decided to pull her aside and tell her. After making sure that Laney was locked in her cage safely, she grabbed Sarah by the shoulder and said, "Hey, can I speak to you for a second?" Sarah was surprised, especially after Monica told her it needed to be a private conversation, subtly glancing at Laney's new owner. Sarah followed her gaze and she seemed to be very confused, but she finally followed Monica into the office. Once they were alone, she asked her, "Ma, what is going on with you? Why are you being so weird?" Instead of explaining everything calmly, Monica simply blurted out, "I called 911. Sarah froze and stared at her with eyes wide in disbelief. "What? What did you do? Why?" Monica took a deep breath and explained everything in the best way possible, but Sarah interrupted her halfway. "How can you be so sure of that? It could also just be a crazy coincidence." Monica tried to convince her, but Sarah simply wouldn't listen. "Monica, you can't just call the police on a random guy like that. I'm going back there right now, and you better follow me. You need to apologize." Sarah barged out of the office, but Monica remained behind, silently shaking her head. She should have known better. Sarah was way too naive and gullible for this. When Sarah stormed back into the office moments later, Monica thought that she had come to scold her about what she had done. However, the expression on her face told her that it was something different. She had turned completely pale and her hands trembled as she said, "Monica, you were right. He's gone. And he took Laney." She had hoped that the police would have arrived by now, and she kept glancing outside, but there was still nobody there. It was all taking way too long, and Laney's new owner slowly seemed to be getting impatient, but Monica was determined to stall him for as long as she needed to. She wasn't going to let him get away, and especially not with Laney. It was clear to Monica that her colleague still had absolutely no idea of what was going on. And after giving it some thought, she decided to pull her aside and tell her. After making sure that Laney was locked in her cage safely, she grabbed Sarah by the shoulder and said, "Hey, can I speak to you for a second?" Sarah was surprised, especially after Monica told her it needed to be a private conversation, subtly glancing at Laney's new owner. Sarah followed her gaze and she seemed to be very confused, but she finally followed Monica into the office. Once they were alone, she asked her, "Mon, what is going on with you? Why are you being so weird?" Instead of explaining everything calmly, Monica simply blurted out, "I called 911." Sarah froze and stared at her with eyes wide in disbelief. "What? What did you do? Why?" Monica took a deep breath and explained everything in the best way possible, but Sarah interrupted her halfway. "How can you be so sure of that? It could also just be a crazy coincidence." Monica tried to convince her, but Sarah simply wouldn't listen. "Monica, you can't just call the police on a random guy like that. I'm going back there right now, and you better follow me. You need to apologize." Sarah barged out of the office, but Monica remained behind, silently shaking her head. She should have known better. Sarah was way too naive and gullible for this. When Sarah stormed back into the office moments later, Monica thought that she had come to scold her about what she had done. However, the expression on her face told her that it was something different. She had turned completely pale and her hands trembled as she said, "Monica, you were right. He's gone. And he took Laney." Monica's heart raced as she dialed 911 again, her voice urgent. "The man has taken Laney, the dog. He's about 6 feet tall, dark hair, wearing a blue jacket. The dog is a medium-sized lab mix, mostly black with white paws." Her eyes darted around the room, seeking any other details that might help. "Please, you have to find them," she implored. Despite Sarah's protests, Monica insisted on accompanying the police. "I need to be there. I feel responsible for Laney," she explained with determination. Her knowledge of Laney and the events leading up to the abduction could be crucial. She felt a deep sense of responsibility, not just as a shelter worker, but as someone who understood Laney's fear and reluctance. Back at the shelter, Monica meticulously reviewed the man's adoption papers. She noted several peculiarities: inconsistent addresses, vague references, and a sense of urgency in his application. These small details, once overlooked, now screamed red flags to her. "How could we have missed these?" she muttered, regret lacing her voice. As they scoured through the security footage, a breakthrough emerged. The man's vehicle was captured on camera, a silver sedan with a partially visible license plate. "That's it! That's his car," Monica exclaimed, pointing at the grainy image. The partial plate was not much, but it was a start. Hope flickered in her, a chance to make things right. Monica was back on the phone with the 911 operator, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "We have a partial plate from the security footage. It's a silver sedan. Plate starts with 4JL or something similar." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "Please, you have to find them. Laney is more than just a dog to us," she pleaded, her voice cracking slightly with emotion. As Monica revisited the man's adoption application, a cold realization dawned on her. His questions during the adoption process, once seeming innocuous, now appeared calculated and probing. He had been particularly interested in Laney's temperament and past. Monica shivered, understanding that these were not the questions of a typical dog owner. The shelter's security footage became a gold mine of information. They identified the man's car entering the parking lot and noted the timestamp. Monica pointed out a moment when the man discreetly looked around, seemingly ensuring he wasn't being watched. "That's him, acting suspiciously," she told the investigating officer, her finger trembling as she pointed at the screen. Sarah joined Monica, peering over her shoulder at the application form. "Did you see this?" she asked, pointing at a discrepancy in the address. "He listed a residential address here, but earlier he mentioned living in an apartment." Monica nodded, her mind racing. These inconsistencies, though small, painted a troubling picture. Watching the police take notes and converse quietly, Monica felt a mix of hope and desperation. She needed to believe that these small clues would lead to Laney and her abductor. The thought of Laney in unknown hands, possibly scared and confused, fueled her determination. "We have to find her," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. "I won't rest until we find her," Monica declared to Sarah, her eyes resolute. The bond she felt with Laney, though brief, was profound. She remembered the way Laney had looked at her, a silent plea for safety in her eyes. Monica knew she had to honor that trust. "Laney is counting on us," she affirmed, her voice steady with resolve. The police arrived in full force, their presence filling the shelter with a sense of urgency. Monica recounted the events, her voice steady but tinged with worry. The officers listened intently, taking notes as she described the man and Laney. Their professionalism offered a small comfort to Monica, a glimmer of hope in the frantic search for Laney. One officer, recognizing the gravity of the situation, decided to issue a pet Amber Alert for Laney. "We're treating this with utmost seriousness," he assured Monica, who nodded, her eyes reflecting her gratitude and concern. The alert would broadcast Laney's description across various platforms, casting a wider net in the hopes of locating her quickly. Monica provided the police with every detail she could recall. The man's demeanor, his questions about Laney, even the slightest nuances of their interactions. She hoped these fragments of information would form a clearer picture, leading to Laney's whereabouts. Each detail felt crucial, a potential key to unlocking this mystery. As the police continued their investigation, Monica felt a growing sense of helplessness. She was used to being in control, to being able to fix things. But now, standing in the middle of the shelter, she felt lost, her thoughts clouded with worry for Laney. The uncertainty of the situation weighed heavily on her, a burden of responsibility and fear. Despite feeling overwhelmed, Monica's resolve to find Laney only strengthened. "I have to do something," she thought, her mind racing with possibilities. She couldn't just stand by and wait for news. She needed to be active in the search. Monica knew that every second counted, and she was determined to do whatever it took to bring Laney home safely. Frustrated with the slow pace of the official investigation, Monica decided to take matters into her own hands. She started by revisiting Laney's records at the shelter, looking for any clue that might have been missed. "There has to be something here," she murmured, her eyes scanning the pages for inconsistencies or overlooked details. As she delved deeper into Laney's file, Monica found discrepancies in her history. Some entries were vague, others incomplete. It was as if Laney's past had been deliberately obscured. Why would anyone do this? She wondered, a sense of foreboding growing within her. These inconsistencies hinted at a more complex story behind Laney's presence at the shelter. Doubts crept into Monica's mind as she sifted through the records. Was she overthinking things? But then she remembered Laney's panicked refusal to leave with the man, her instinct screaming that something was amiss. This reaffirmed her determination. "I'm on the right track," she told herself, her resolve hardening. She couldn't let her doubts deter her now. Each piece of information Monica uncovered added to a growing, troubling picture. Laney's records didn't just contain gaps, they were riddled with them. It was as if someone had tried to erase or hide parts of her past. "What are you hiding, Laney?" Monica whispered, feeling a connection with the dog even in her absence. She was determined to uncover the truth. The more Monica investigated, the more she realized that this wasn't just about a stolen dog. There was something bigger at play, something that Laney's records hinted at but didn't fully reveal. Her heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement as she pondered the possibilities. This mystery was deepening, and Monica was at its very heart. Sarah, feeling remorseful for not taking Monica's concerns seriously, joined her in the investigation. "I should have listened to you," she admitted, her eyes filled with guilt. Together they pored over Laney's records, searching for anything that might lead them to her. Sarah's change of heart bolstered Monica's resolve, their teamwork breathing new life into the search. As they scrutinized Laney's behavioral logs, discrepancies became apparent. Certain entries described a dog well-trained and obedient, while others depicted a skittish and unpredictable animal. "This doesn't add up," Monica noted, her brows furrowed in concentration. It seemed as if Laney had been trained for specific tasks, but the details were shrouded in mystery. The inconsistencies in Laney's file led Monica and Sarah to suspect that her past was deliberately obfuscated. Was she trained for something before she came to us? Sarah wondered aloud. Monica felt a chill run down her spine as she considered the possibility. Laney's reluctance to leave with the man could be a clue to her mysterious past. Their investigation took a turn when they unearthed records of similar cases in other shelters. Dogs with erratic histories, training for specific tasks, suddenly turning up in shelters. The pattern was too consistent to be coincidental. "It's like they're hiding in plain sight," Monica mused, her mind racing with the implications of their findings. The more they discovered, the more determined Monica and Sarah became. They were no longer just looking for a missing dog. They were uncovering a potentially larger scheme. "We need to find her, Sarah, not just for her sake, but to understand what's really going on," Monica declared, her voice steady with conviction. Sarah nodded in agreement, their shared purpose clear. Their research led them to a chilling case in another state. A dog used in smuggling operations, eerily similar to Laney's story. Monica and Sarah examined the details, noting the parallels. "This is more than a coincidence," Monica said, her voice tinged with concern. The thought that Laney could be involved in something so sinister was both frightening and motivating. As they delved deeper, Sarah's guilt intensified. She remembered the man's odd behavior during his visits, which she had initially brushed off. "I should have seen the signs," she lamented. Monica reassured her, knowing that hindsight was always clearer. They focused on piecing together the puzzle, each discovery a step closer to finding Laney. With each passing day, the pressure to find Laney mounted. Monica felt the weight of responsibility heavily. "We're running out of time," she said, her eyes never leaving the computer screen. The fear that they might be too late was a constant shadow over their efforts, driving them to work tirelessly. Their investigation uncovered evidence of a network using dogs for illegal activities. Monica's heart sank as she realized the scale of what they were dealing with. "This is bigger than we thought," she whispered. The discovery of this criminal operation only added to her determination to rescue Laney and stop those responsible. Sarah's guilt about her initial skepticism gnawed at her. "I should have listened to you sooner," she confessed to Monica. Monica, though frustrated, knew that dwelling on what should have been done wouldn't help. "We need to focus on finding Laney now," she urged, her voice firm yet understanding. Realizing the complexity of the situation, Monica reached out to a detective specializing in animal-related crimes. In a detailed conversation, she shared their findings, discussing the possibility of a criminal network exploiting dogs. The detective's interest was piqued, and he agreed to assist in the investigation, providing a new level of expertise and resources. As Monica collaborated with the detective, the case became increasingly personal. The realization that she might have inadvertently been part of a larger criminal scheme was both shocking and motivating. "I need to make this right," she thought, her determination to rescue Laney growing stronger with each passing moment. The detective's involvement broadened the scope of the investigation. Together, they began to unravel a network that used animals for illegal activities. Monica's knowledge of Laney and the shelter became invaluable, providing crucial insights into the methods used by the criminals to exploit these innocent animals. The more Monica learned, the more resolute she became. "We're on to something big," she told Sarah, her eyes alight with a mixture of fear and determination. The thought of Laney being used in such a nefarious way fueled her commitment to not only save her, but also to expose the criminal network. Working with the detective, Monica and Sarah began connecting the dots between various cases of missing dogs and suspicious adoptions. Patterns emerged, painting a larger picture of the criminal operation. "We're getting closer," Monica said, a sense of urgency in her voice. Every discovery brought them a step closer to finding Laney and bringing the perpetrators to justice. The detective revealed to Monica that Laney's reluctance to leave with the man was likely due to her past training as a contraband detection dog. This information was a revelation. So her behavior was a warning sign, Monica realized, the pieces of the puzzle finally fitting together. Laney had sensed something illegal in the man's possession, triggering her refusal to leave. Further investigation confirmed that Laney had been part of a disbanded K-9 unit, her skills once used for law enforcement. After the unit's disbandment, her records had become muddled, leading her to the shelter. Monica was astounded by the discovery. "She was trying to protect us," she whispered, her respect for Laney deepening. This new understanding of Laney's behavior provided crucial clues. Monica and the detective reviewed footage of Laney's interactions with the man, noting her body language and reactions. She knew something was wrong, Monica said, pointing out the moments Laney became visibly distressed. It was clear now that Laney was more than a pet. She was a trained professional. With the knowledge of Laney's training, Monica and the detective pieced together a likely scenario. The man had targeted Laney, knowing her abilities. He wanted her for a reason, the detective mused. Monica's heart ached for Laney, caught up in a criminal scheme simply because of her innate skills. This revelation was a turning point in the investigation. It transformed Laney from a simple missing pet to a key figure in uncovering a larger criminal operation. Monica's determination to find Laney intensified, not just to save her, but to thwart the plans of those who sought to exploit her unique abilities. Analyzing the shelter's security footage and the abandoned vehicle of the man, the police made a significant breakthrough. They discovered evidence linking the case to other incidents involving dogs used in crimes. This could be the key we've been looking for, the detective said, his voice filled with a mix of excitement and gravity. With Monica and Sarah's help, the police pieced together the possible whereabouts of Laney. Using the information gathered, they identified a secluded location that seemed to be the hub of the criminal operation. "We need to move fast," the detective urged, aware that time was of the essence. The police, alongside Monica and Sarah, meticulously planned the rescue operation. Every detail was considered, from the approach to the extraction. Monica's heart pounded with anticipation and fear. "We're coming for you, Laney," she whispered to herself, her resolve unwavering. The rescue mission was tense and carefully executed. The police moved in with precision, their actions swift and silent. Monica and Sarah waited anxiously, every second stretching out like an eternity. The air was thick with anticipation and hope. The operation was a success. Laney and several other dogs were rescued, their relief palpable as they were brought to safety. The man and his accomplices were arrested, their scheme thwarted. Monica burst into tears of relief and joy as she embraced Laney, her emotions overwhelming. "You're safe now," she assured the trembling dog. After the ordeal, Monica made a life-changing decision. She would adopt Laney. The bond they had formed was undeniable, and she knew she could provide the love and safety Laney deserved. "You're home now," Monica whispered to Laney, who nuzzled her hand in response, a look of trust in her eyes. Laney's adjustment to her new home was a journey of patience and love. Monica was there every step of the way, helping her adapt to a life free of fear and danger. They spent days playing in the yard, going for walks, and simply enjoying each other's company. Simple joys that Laney had never known before. As time passed, both Monica and Laney healed from their experiences. Monica found solace in Laney's company, and Laney grew more confident and relaxed each day. They had saved each other in ways neither could have imagined, forming an unbreakable bond. Monica often looked at Laney, marveling at her resilience. She knew they had a bright future ahead, filled with love and companionship. Laney had become more than just a pet. She was a symbol of strength and survival, a constant reminder of the power of love and determination. As they sat together watching the sunset, Monica felt a profound sense of peace. Laney, once a dog caught in a web of crime, was now basking in the warmth of a loving home. Their journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but in the end, love had prevailed, enduring and unyielding.